Hey, what's up there? This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and man, I've got a fantastic video for you guys today. It has just been absolute craziness in the crypto market. I've been away for a couple of days, but I've been following everything very closely and making posts on X to share my thoughts on the current crypto environment. And we're going to get into all of that. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and the reason why Bitcoin's running and the anatomy of this massive rally that we've seen in the past couple of days. And then I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what's going to be going on next week as well and my expectations for the price. But before we get to that, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and be sure to share this video and follow me on X. So Bitcoin in the last 7 days is up 7.5%. Not too shabby. Now, we're going to see when I show you the chart TA, we're going to see the lengths to which this Bitcoin rally has taken us. But it's also important to point out as well that Ethereum has finally crossed that 2K level, okay? Ethereum in the same time span up over 13.5%. In fact, it looks like right now Bitcoin's rally has also pushed altcoins to rally additionally and push even higher, okay? So we're going to go ahead and move right into it. We're going to go ahead and start with our Bitcoin chart TA. And you can see here that I've penciled out the key resistance levels here in red and the support in blue. So Bitcoin has rallied so strongly that it's taken out almost every single resistance point that I've put into this chart. In fact, I've kept having to move them and move them higher. Okay, so what we have here is resistance at 36,000. There was another resistance point at 36,500 that was taken out as well. And now the final resistance point that we're looking at is actually at about 38K, very close to like where I have this right now. I move it up just a little bit here, and we can see that that was kind of the point at which Bitcoin finally sold off and came back down again. So 38K right now is just an absolutely crazy place to be. And just zooming out, we can go ahead and take a look at where we've been. If we see here 38K, the last time Bitcoin was at 38K was back in May of 2022. So Bitcoin has definitely almost come full circle. It has completely erased all of the bear market lows that we saw for the last year, 2 years or so. And now it's back up to where Bitcoin has traded in the last couple of years. In fact, if we extend out this line right here, and we make this kind of a channel that Bitcoin's in right now, we can see that Bitcoin's price is actually pretty similar to where it's been starting all the way back here to about January of 2021. There's a lot of price action here. There's a lot of historical volume at these levels, okay? And so Bitcoin is back to where we kind of expected it to be a couple of years ago, okay? So this is just absolutely amazing. So this right now, I want to talk about my expectations for the price. So lately, I've made a couple of videos in which I'm expecting the actual price to pull back. So Bitcoin has not really done that. And the reason why it hasn't really done that is because the buying momentum has been so strong that even though it's technically overbought and has been overbought for the past couple of weeks, it still pushes even higher, okay? So what I want to point out right now is what's going on with one of my favorite indicators, the Bitcoin Bullish Percent Index. I made a whole video on this, right? That kind of gives you an idea of when Bitcoin buying momentum is there and basically when the selling momentum is there. It gives you a good idea, at least for me. I use it to kind of for buys and sells of Bitcoin. And so what we're seeing here right now is we're seeing an overbought area and a strong uptrend. It's up to 94 on the daily, and this normally doesn't get up this high, okay? If we have to go all the way back here, even past January, it never got this high, okay? So, and this is on the daily. So I definitely recommend you guys check this indicator out. This is one of my favorite indicators. It shows you the trend. It shows you the acceleration of the upside or the downside, and it tells you whether or not Bitcoin is overbought or if it's an uptrend or a downtrend. Right now, what we're seeing is just the highest level of buying activity that I think that I've ever seen with Bitcoin, especially in the past couple of years. Now, if we go ahead and look at a more traditional indicator, such as our RSI, we can see RSI is at 84. Okay, so RSI has been overbought since the 20th of October. So we've seen RSI continue to push even higher, all right? So this actually right here rivals what we saw back in January, where we saw this huge blow off top, and then we saw the price move down a little bit after that, after this huge move was completed, okay? So I'm still expecting that Bitcoin is still going to pull back, but right now it looks like the momentum is still with the bulls, it's still with the longs, and that pullback could be probably back here to about 36K or so. That's where your next support level is going to be. I think that it'd be very healthy if we get that pullback to 36K. Otherwise, I think that it's very possible that we actually wind up pushing even higher. I think 40K is potentially even a likelihood by the end of the year. But we'll have to see how things play out, especially with these resistance points. I think if Bitcoin pushes above 38K, then it is actually fairly likely we will see 40K by the end of the year, okay? Next, I want to go ahead and talk about what caused this rally in the first place. So first, we have to take a look at the dollar index. All right, the dollar index has been remarkably weak, and that helps keep Bitcoin higher, all right? So you can see here, extend our lines a little bit. We have a resistance here at 107. The dollar index, or the strength of the dollar, has been weak, and that's one of the reasons why Bitcoin has been allowed to rally. Now, on the other hand, if we take a look at our Bitcoin dominance, we can see Bitcoin dominance has actually come down quite a bit. This is kind of a surprise to me. I felt like the Bitcoin dominance would continue to move up as the halving gets closer. But the thing is, we're also starting to see a large number of traders and investors go from Bitcoin and buy altcoins instead. And so altcoins are rallying, like Ethereum, up to about 2,000. And so it seems like we're going to see if this resistance level, if this support level holds here at about 52%. If this doesn't hold, then it is very likely that the Bitcoin dominance will continue to go lower and altcoins will continue to rally. But I want to go ahead and look at the futures market. Okay, so futures market, we can see here in the past couple of days, massive rallies. If you go ahead and take a look at the hourly here, we can see just a huge collapse in the number of short positions for futures. You can see down here, massive short liquidations on the 8th, massive short liquidations on the 9th, and even a little bit here on the 10th as well. But the 8th and the 9th, we've seen both shorts and longs get liquidated, ironically enough, and that run up to 38K. We saw the shorts basically capitulate. It squeezed all the way up to 38K. And then the buyers came in, and the buyers got completely liquidated, and then that caused Bitcoin's fall all the way down to about 35,300. And then we see here that the open interest, or the number of contracts right down here, is at a level that's a new yearly low. In fact, if we zoom out here, we go to the daily, we can see that this level right here is a new yearly low in the number of open interest, the number of open contracts, and volume and liquidity keeps getting sucked out of the system. All these shorts get completely destroyed. They get obliterated, and they go away and recoup their losses, and they'll probably be back at some point in the future. But for now, we just have not seen very many short positions. They've just gotten completely annihilated over the past couple of weeks. If you're short Bitcoin, you were in a whole world of pain in the past couple of weeks. In fact, if we take a look at our liquidation heat map, we can see that a lot of these liquidity levels, these liquidation levels here, have been taken out. In fact, we can't really see it. We have to zoom out a little bit here and go to the 3-day. But you can see once we go to the 3-day how high Bitcoin went up. It took out all of these liquidation levels when it popped all the way up here. Now we can see there are some that have returned, especially the largest one that we've seen so far is about at 35,000. This 35,000 level, there's a huge number of these long liquidations. It seems like at this point, you're going to wind up finding that buyers are going to be defending that 35K level, and they're going to be defending it with veracity, okay? So there's going to be a lot of people who come down here and buy the dip if Bitcoin ever goes down to 35K again, because there's a large level of liquidity, of this liquidation level here, right below 35K. If we ever go below that level, that means that we could see Bitcoin push under 35K in the future. But so far, there just really doesn't seem to be very many short liquidations, the short liquidation levels above where we are currently, because they've all gotten taken out and there's just nothing here right now. So one of the reasons why Bitcoin has been pushing so heavily and we've seen so much demand and so much buying here is because we've actually started to see some traditional finance investors kind of go into the space here. So we have here Crypto Potato talking about the top U.S. Bitcoin ETF absorbing $240 million of inflows. Okay, so this is based off of the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, which is a Bitcoin futures ETF. They've seen inflows, massive inflows of almost $250 million, okay? And this is based on the speculation that a Bitcoin spot ETF will be approved soon. Now, I have no idea if a Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be approved soon, but the word on the street right now is the rumor mill is circulating that it's going to be approved by the end of the year. Now, I personally don't think this is likely, but this is what's causing this massive run up. And when it finally does get approved, okay, we will see Bitcoin rocket higher to a newer level, and then it'll probably sell off for a little bit. And then we'll see incremental demand come into the space and continue to push the Bitcoin price higher. I do think that's probably the most likely outcome. Now, that's pushed Bitcoin and crypto into a level of extreme greed. If we take a look at the Bitcoin and crypto fear and greed index, we're at 81, or extreme greed. And if we back this out and we take a look at the 1 year, the list for this got as high as 88, okay, which is a level of extreme greed that we haven't seen. If we back this out, unless we go all the way back to about February of 2021, the middle of almost the peak of that bull market. This is the level that we're in right now, where we have a level of extreme greed and buying pressure that is akin to what we see in a bull market, okay? This is very, very, very interesting, okay? This could wind up being the signal that everyone has been looking for, to basically say, hey, listen, we're out of a bull market, and now we're out of a bear market, and now we're pushing towards a new Bitcoin bull market. Now, another reason why Bitcoin continues to rally is because, as I've said before, the long-term supply of Bitcoin continues to go higher and higher and higher, or the long-term holders as a portion of the Bitcoin supply has hit 84%. Now, as a reminder, these addresses are much less likely to sell Bitcoin, and they're much more likely to hold Bitcoin and probably not sell until the next bull market, or the top of the next bull market, at least past all-time highs. Now at this point, we're at about 84.5% of the current Bitcoin supply held by these long-term holders. And if we go ahead and take a look at the miners' reserve, okay, we can also see that miners have not been selling. In fact, since about June, they've been mostly even, kind of going up and down a little bit, but we haven't seen any drastic selling like we saw back in January when we had January's huge pump. Again, overlaying this with the price, we can see that in January we had a huge pump up, and then we had a large number of miners selling that whole pump, okay? This time, we're not seeing that. We're actually seeing miners go mostly sideways. We're seeing them just, again, gather up their coins. They're waiting to sell this at the all-time high, or somewhere close to that, okay? This all bodes very well for Bitcoin. But that being said, I still believe that we're going to get a pullback, because this buying is not going to continue forever. The market pendulum of fear and greed is swinging into greed, or extreme greed right now, and before too long, it's going to swing back to neutral, and then it's going to swing back to fear. All it's going to take is a little bit of FUD, and Bitcoin will dip, and then that right there will be the time that Bitcoin needs to recharge and then head higher, okay? So I want to go ahead and talk about what's going to be going on this week. All right, this upcoming week, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the major economic reports on Market Watch. We have Fed governor speaking on Monday. Okay, on Tuesday, we have New York Fed president speaking as well. And Tuesday, very important, the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, numbers are coming out on Tuesday. it is going to be a wild ride on Tuesday because people are looking at this and they're going to be trying to figure out if the Fed's going to raise rates or they're not going to raise rates. I personally don't think they are going to raise rates. We're going to wind up probably seeing core CPI and CPI come in at least at expectations year over year, which currently are sitting at about 4.1%. All right. We have Fed president speaking that day as well. On Wednesday, we have the core PPI, the producer price index as well. So they're going to be looking at that and to seeing whether or not inflation has continued its further move downwards, which again, I think it will, considering the fact that you have the decrease of oil prices, for instance, and used cars have been coming down. And then Thursday, we have jobless claims. You also have numerous Fed presidents speaking as well. And then Friday, you have Fed president speaking and housing starts and building permits. It's going to be very important to determine the real estate market and home builders, what home builders are doing, if home builders are in trouble or if they're having issues or not. Okay, all that's going to play into the economic forecast for the coming week or two. But the biggest days, again, Tuesday and Wednesday, CPI and PPI are going to be announced. All right. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know if there's something else you want me to cover or if you want me to go through a certain altcoin. If you guys want me to do more Ethereum coverage, for instance, leave a comment below and I will catch you guys on the next video.